Good morning, everyone. My name is Ganiat Adinekon. Today, I will be analyzing the strength and limitations of the passive communication style, particularly with the health and social care setting. Passive communication is a style where individuals avoid expressing their needs, preferences, or feelings, often because they want to avoid conflict or have no confidence. This type is essential because communication directly affects person centered care, safeguarding, teamwork, and the overall quality of conversations and interactions between staff and service users. In this presentation, I will explore what passive communication depicts, when it can be useful, and when it becomes a risk, that is, its strengths and limitations, and then how professionals can adapt their communication to support safe and effective practice. I'll start by introducing the topic. Passive communication is commonly seen, mostly in care settings. Most service users feel unsure or vulnerable of their own right, which can make them reluctant to speak up. Staff may also communicate passively, especially if they are anxious, new, or worried about causing conflict. Understanding this style of communication is important because it influences how information is shared, how trust is built, and how effective care is delivered. In person centered care, professionals must recognize when someone is struggling to express themselves and adapt their approach accordingly. So, this presentation is going to be exploring both the positive and negative impact of passive communication in real practice. Let's define what passive communication is and the characteristics. Passive communication is characterized by behaviors that limit the communicator's presence. This includes speaking quietly, avoiding eye contact, apologizing frequently, or allowing others to dominate the conversation. In health and social care, passive communication may appear when service users feels intimidated or unsure of how to express their needs. Staff may also become passive if they feel incompetent or lack confidence in their given role. Recognizing these characteristics is important because it helps professionals identify when a service user may need additional support to communicate effectively. It also encourages staff to reflect on their own communication skills and consider how their rights affect the people they support. Now, moving forward, we'll discuss the strengths of passive communication style. Although passive communication is often viewed negatively, it does have its strengths when used intentionally. For example, staying quiet and giving space can help service users express emotions without feeling pressured. In sensitive or emotional conversations, a passive approach can create a safe environment where the individual feels listened to. Passive communication can also help de-escalate conflict. By avoiding confrontations, the communicator may prevent a situation from becoming more heated. Additionally, allowing the allowing the person speak without interrupting can support rapport building, especially with individuals who need more time to process their thoughts. However, these trends only apply when passive communication is a deliberate choice rather than a result of fear or lack of confidence. Now, let's talk about the limitations of passive communication. Despite its strengths, Passive communication has several limitations that can negatively affect care practice. Firstly, it limits the needs of a service user being met when they communicate passively. If a staff avoids speaking up, they may fail to challenge unclear instructions or may not report concerns, which can compromise safety. Secondly, passive communication increases the risk of miscommunication. Important information may be lost or misunderstood, which can lead to unsafe practice or poor outcomes for service users. Thirdly, passive communication reduces professional assertiveness. In health and social care, assertiveness is essential for advocating for service users, raising safeguarding concerns, and ensuring that care plans are followed correctly. Finally, in the long run, passive communication can lead to frustration, burnout, and poor teamwork. When individuals feel unable to express themselves within a team, trust can be broken and it can affect the moral and overall quality of care. Now, let's discuss how it is applied in practice. Passive communication appears mostly in many real life care situations. For example, a care worker may notice missing information during handover but stay silent because they feel intimidated by a senior colleague. This can lead to errors or unsafe practice. A service user may avoid expressing dissatisfaction with their care because they feel being judged or ignored. This can prevent staff from making necessary improvements and adjustments. However, passive communication can also be helpful in therapeutic conversations, where the goal is to give the service user some space to express themselves. In these cases, being quiet and allowing the person to lead the conversation can support emotional expression. The main aim is understanding when passive communication is appropriate and when it becomes harmful. Now, let's discuss how to adapt passive communication style with person-centered care. To deliver person-centered care, professionals must adapt passive communication so that it becomes supportive rather than limiting. This involves combining passive listening with active listening techniques, such as paraphrasing, summarizing, and asking open questions. Gentle prompts can help ensure that important information is not missed. For example, a staff member might say, "I notice you seem unsure. Would you like to tell me more about that?" Professionals can also empower service users by encouraging them to express their preferences and reassuring them that their views matters. This approach strengthens trust, promotes autonomy, and ensures that care plans reflect individuals' needs. Let's discuss improvement strategies. Improving passive communication involves developing assertiveness and confidence. Assertiveness training can help staff express their needs clearly while still being respectful. Reflective practice allows individuals to identify situations where they become passive and explore why. This supports personal growth and professional development. Using I messages is another helpful strategy. For example, saying I feel concerned when information is missing from handover. This communicates needs without sounding confrontational. Regular supervision also provides a safe space to discuss communication challenges and receive guidance. These strategies help professionals maintain a healthy balance between empathy and assertiveness. Conclusion and reflection. Reflection on passive communication show that it can be both helpful and harmful. When used intentionally, it creates emotional space, supports sensitive conversations, and helps de-escalate conflict. However, when passive communication is used because of fear, anxiety, or low confidence, it can lead to unsafe practice, poor teamwork, and unmet needs. The key message is that communication must be balanced. Professionals need to combine active listening, empathy, and assertiveness to deliver person centered and high quality care. Reflective practice, self awareness, and continuous training are essential for developing this balance. In conclusion, passive communication has an important place in health and social care, but it must be used thoughtfully and supported by strong professional judgment. Thank you for listening.